for business, if it is a wife who has the wit to be a little bit clever...
No, I don't understand this at all.
Oh, how should you? I never said I borrowed the money. For business, if it is a wife who has the... When anyone's as attractive as I am...
You are a mad creature.
Oh, now you know you're full of curiosity.
Listen to me, Nora. Haven't you been a little bit imprudent?
Is it imprudent to save your husband's life?
I think it imprudent without his knowledge.
Yeah. But it was absolutely necessary you should know. My goodness, can't you understand that? It was to me the doctors came and said that Torvald's life was in danger. Don't you think I didn't try, first of all, to get what I wanted as if it were for myself? Oh, I told him I should love to travel abroad like other young wives. I tried tears and entreaties with him. I told him that he should be kind and remember the condition I was in. I even hinted that he raise a loan. That very nearly made him angry, Christine. He said that I was thoughtless and that it was his duty as my husband not to indulge my every whim and caprice. Very well, I thought. You must be saved. And that was how I came to devise a way out of the difficulty.
But did your husband never get to know from your father that the money had to come from him?
No, never. Papa had just died. If I were to let him in on the secret, I should have had to tell him what the money was for, and when he was so sick himself, there was never any really need.
And you've never told your husband your secret?
My goodness, no! How could you think so? Torvald with his manly independence. And besides, how humiliating it would be for him to know that he owed me anything.
Do you mean never to tell him?
Oh, well, maybe. Someday. But I'm no longer as attractive as I am now. Don't laugh, I'm serious. When Torvald is no longer devoted to me as he is now, when my dancing and reciting have palled on him, it could be good to have something in reserve. Nonsense, that'll never happen. So, what do you think of my great secret, Christine? You still think I'm of no use?
My dear Nora. Perhaps I'd better go.
No. It's surely to be for Torvald. Right?
I am. Do you have any tea?
Oh, yes.
Excuse me, ma'am. There's a gentleman to see the master, and as the doctor is with him.
Who is it?
It's I, Mrs. Helmer.
You? What do you want?
Bank business in a way. I hear your husband is to be our new chief.
And it's just...
Bank business. Nothing but dry bank business.
Be so good as to show him into the study, please.
Nora, who was that man?
That was a man by the name of Krogstad.
It really was he.
You know him.
I used to, many years ago. He was a solicitor's clerk in our town.
Yes, he was.
Greatly altered.
He made for a very unhappy marriage.
He's a widower now, isn't he?
With several children.
They say he carries on various kinds of business.
Oh, I wouldn't know anything about that, but let's not talk of
No,
business.
my dear friend, I won't bother you. Won't disturb you. But it appears I'm disturbing you.
No, not at all. Mrs. Lynde? Dr. Wright?
I believe I've often heard Mrs. Lynde's name mentioned around here. I believe I passed her on the stairs when I arrived. Mrs. Lynde?
Yes, I come up slowly. I can't manage stairs very well.
Some slight internal weakness, perhaps?
No, I've just been overworking myself.
Nothing more than that. Then I suppose you've come to town to amuse yourself with our shenanigans.
Actually, I came to look for some work.
Tell me, is that a good cure for overwork?
One must live, Dr. Rank.
Yes, the general opinion seems to be that it is necessary.
Oh, come now, doctor. You know you want to live.
Certain. However wretched I may feel, I want to prolong the agony as long as possible. All of my patients are like that, and so are the morally diseased. One of them, in a very bad case of that, is currently horrible.
Whom do you mean?
A lawyer by the name of Krauss, that fellow you don't know at all. But he suffers from a diseased moral character, however.
What did he want to speak to Torvald about?
I have no idea. I only heard that it was something about the bank.
It's perfectly glorious to think that we have that Torvald has so much power over so many people. Dr. Rank, what do you say to a macaroon?
Macaroons? I thought they were forbidden here.
Oh, yes, but Christine brought me these. Don't be alarmed. You couldn't know that Torvald forbids them. He says that they'll spoil my teeth. Oh, perfect. Dr. Rank, you must have one. You too, Christine. You both as well. And I will have a little one. Just a tiny, tiny little one. Two at most. Oh, I am so tremendously happy. There's just one thing I should so dearly love to do.
And what is that?
Well, it's something I should so dearly love to say if Torvald could hear.
And why can't you say it?
Oh, it's shocking. Shocking. Mm-hmm.
Well, I shouldn't advise you to say it. Still, with us, you might. What is it you would so dearly love to say to Torvald if he could hear you?
I should so dearly love to say. Oh, well, I'm damned. Nora! How you got Redmond, dear?
Yes, he's just gone.
Well, let me introduce you. This is Mrs. Lind. Christine.
Christine. Excuse me, but I don't know.
Mrs. Lind, dear. Christine Lind.
Of course, a school friend of my wife's, I presume.
Yes, we've known each other since then.
Yes, and just think. Christine has traveled all this way just to see you.
What do you mean?
Well, really, Christine is tremendously clever at bookkeeping, and she's frightfully anxious to work under a man so clever as yourself.
Very sensible, Mrs. Lind.
And I was just hoping, Torvald, that you might be able to get her something to do for my sake, won't you?
Well, it's not altogether impossible.
Oh, what did I do to
I
you?
presume you're a widow, Mrs.
Yes.
Lind?
Yes.
And have had some experience in bookkeeping?
A fair amount, yes.
Ah, well, it's very likely I may be able to find something for you.
What did I tell you?
You've just come at a fortunate moment, Mrs. Lind.
How can I thank you?
There's no need. But today, you must excuse me.
Oh, wait a minute. I'll come with you.
Don't be gone long, Torvald, dear.
An hour, not more.
And you're going to Christine.
Yes, I must go look for a room.
Oh. Oh, you want them to stay together?
Oh, wait! They're here! Come here, Ellen Charlie! Come here! Did we have a good time? What tricks did you learn?
Look what I can do.
What can you do? Alright, so I think we need to play a game. What do you say?
Yeah!
But we will need reinforcements. Ladies, are we ready for the most intense game of hide and seek you have ever played?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Then you all have 10 seconds to hide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ready or not? Here I come. Oh, and what could Hazel be hiding over here? Is that my little rocket? Come here. I found you, darling. Come here. Who else? Who's over here? We got you, Anne-Marie! What have you hiding here? Oh, and we're missing one. Oh, what'd she get in the presents? There you are! Oh, that was so good, you guys!
Back to work.
Excuse me, Mrs. Helmer.
What do you want?
Excuse me, the outer door was ajar. I suppose someone forgot to shut it.
My husband is out, Mr. Krogstad.
I know that.
What do you want here, then?
Word with you?
With me. Come, my little darling, come. We'll go into the nursery and we will play more games later, I promise. No, the strange man isn't going to hurt your mother. Take me in, please. You want to speak with me?
Yes, I do.
Today, it's not even the first of the month yet.
No. It is Christmas Eve, and it is up to you what sort of Christmas you will have.
Today is absolutely impossible for me.
We're not talking about that now. This is something different. I assume you have a moment?
Yes, I do.
Good.
Oh,
I was in Olson's restaurant. I saw your husband walking down the street.
yes,
Lady, may I be so bold to ask if it was a Mrs. Lynn?
it was.
Just arrived in town.
Yes, today.
It's a good friend of yours, isn't she?
She is, but I don't see.
I knew her too. Once upon a time.
I'm aware of that.
So you know all about it then? Well, then I can ask without beating around the bush. Is Mrs. Lynn to have an appointment in the bank?
What right have you questioned me, Mr. Krogstad? One of my husband's employees. But, since you ask, you shall know. Yes, Mrs. Lynn is to have an appointment there, and it was I who pleaded the cause.
I was right in what I thought.
Sometimes, careful, one has a little bit of influence, I should hope. Because one is a woman, it doesn't necessarily follow that. When anyone is in a subordinate position, Mr. Krogstad, they should be very careful to offend anyone who...
Who has influence?
Exactly.
Mrs. Helmer, you will be so good as to use your influence on my behalf.
What are you talking about?
You will be so kind as to see that I'm allowed to keep my subordinate position in the bank.
Who proposes to take your position away from you?
There's no need to play dumb. I quite understand that your friend isn't eager to rub shoulders with me, and I quite understand, too, who I have to thank for being fired.
Mr. Krogstad, I assure you. I have nothing to do with this.
I thought you said just now.
I don't have that kind of influence. Naturally, I didn't mean for you to put that kind of construction on it. What makes you think I have influence of that kind with my husband?
You know your husband from college. I don't suppose he's any more unassailable than any other husband.
Speak ill of my husband, and I will show you out the house.
You are bold, Mrs. Helmer.
I am not afraid of you. As soon as the first of the month rolls around, I will be free of this whole thing.
Listen to me, Mrs. Helmer. If necessary, I'm prepared to fight for my small role in the bank as if I was fighting for my very life.
So it seems.
This isn't just about money. Frankly, that is the least of my concerns. Well, I may as well tell you, I dare say you know, like everyone else, that once, many years ago, I was guilty of an indiscretion.
I have heard something of the kind.
I was never charged, but no one would hire me after that. So I took to the business that you know of. And I had to do something. Honestly, I don't think I've been one of the worst. But the time has come when I must cut myself free from all of that. My sons are getting older. For their sake, I must try and win back as much respect as I can in this town. That post in the bank was like the first step up for me. And now your husband wants to kick me back downstairs into the mud.
But Mr. Krogstad, I have no power to help you at all.
It's because you haven't the will. I have means to compel you.
You don't mean to tell my husband that I owe you money.
Suppose I were.
That would be perfectly infamous of you. Oh, to think of him learning my secret. That which has been such a source of pride and joy, and such an ugly way to think of him learning it from you. That would put me in a horribly disagreeable position.
Only disagreeable.
Well, do it then, and it'll be worse for you. Once my husband finds out what a snake you are, you'll never keep your post then.
I asked you if it was only a disagreeable scene at home that you were afraid of.
If my husband does come to find out that I owe you money, he will pay what is owing at once, and we will be free of this whole thing.
Selmer, either you have a very bad memory or you know very little of business. I might need to remind you of a few things.
What are you talking about?
When your husband was ill, you came to me to borrow $50,000.
Yes, because I had no one else to go to.
I promised to get you that amount.
Yes, and you did.
I promised to get you that amount on certain conditions. Your mind was so taken up with your husband's illness, and you were so anxious to get your money, that you seem to have paid very little attention to the details of our agreement. Therefore, I might remind you of them. I promised to get you that amount based on a bond, which I drew up.
Yes, and which I signed.
Good! Beneath your signature, there were a few lines constituting your father as a surety for the money. Those lines your father should have signed.
Should have. He did sign them.
I had left the date blank. That is to say that your father himself should have inserted the day on which he signed the bond. Do you remember that?
Yes, I think I remember.
Yeah. And then I gave you the bond to mail to your father. Correct?
Yes.
And naturally you did so at once because 5 or 6 days later, you brought me the bond with your father's signature and I gave you the money.
Yes, and haven't I been paying it off regularly?
Fairly so. But to come to the point, this has been a very trying time for you, Mrs. Helmer.
It was indeed.
Your husband was very ill, wasn't he?
Yes.
Tell me, Mrs. Helmer, can you remember what day your father died? What day of the month, I mean?
Pa died on the 29th of September.
That is right! I looked it up myself. And because of that, there is a discrepancy which I cannot account for.
A discrepancy? What are you talking about?
The discrepancy is that your father signed this bond 3 days after his death. Your father died on the 29th of September. But look here. Your father has dated his signature the 2nd of October. That is a discrepancy, isn't it? Can you explain it to me? It's a remarkable thing, too, that the words 2nd of October, as well as the year, are not written in your father's handwriting, but in what I think I know. Now this can all be explained. Your father may have forgotten to date his signature, and someone else may have done it haphazardly before they knew of his death. There's no harm in that. What matters is the signature of the name. And that is genuine. Right, Mrs. Helmer? It was your father himself who signed this bond?
No! It wasn't. It was I who signed Papa's name.
No, you just confessed.
In what way? You will have your money soon.
Why did you not send your father the bond?
That was impossible. When my father was so ill himself, I couldn't ask him to sign that. Then I should have to tell him what the money was for, and that my husband's life was in danger, but he was so ill himself, it was impossible.
It would have been better for you to give up your trip.
That trip was to save my husband's life. I couldn't give that up.
But did it not occur to you you were committing fraud against me?
I couldn't think of you. I couldn't bear you for all the heartless difficulties you put in my way when you knew what a horrible condition my husband was in.
Listen to me, Mrs. Helmer. I can assure you that my one false step, which lost me all of my reputation, was nothing more and nothing worse than what you've done.
Do you expect me to believe you were brave enough to run a risk to save your wife's life?
Law cares nothing about motive.
Then it is a very foolish law.
Foolish or not, it's the laws by which you'll be judged if I produce this paper in court.
I don't believe that. Is a daughter not allowed to spare her dying father anxiety and care? Is a wife not allowed to save her dying husband's life? I don't know much about laws, Mr. Krogstad, but I do know there must be laws permitting such things. Do you know of such laws, you who are a lawyer? You must be a very poor lawyer, then.
Perhaps. But matters of business, such as the business you and I have together, do you really think I don't understand that? Very well. Do as you please. But let me tell you this. If I lose my position for a second time, you'll lose yours with me. Goodbye, Mrs. Helmer.
Nonsense, trying to frighten you like that. No, it's not true. It can't be true. No, I did it for love's sake, of course.
Has anyone been here?
Here, no.
Strange. It's like Krogstad going out of the gate.
Yes, I forgot. Krogstad was here for just a moment.
Laura, see from your manner that he's been begging you to say a good word for him.
Yes.
You were to appear to do it of your own accord. You were to conceal from me the fact of his having been here. Didn't he beg that of you too?
Yes, Torvald, but
Laura, you would be a party to that sort of thing? But any talk with a man like that and give him any sort of promise? To tell me a lie into the bargain.
a lie.
Didn't you tell me no one had been here? That little songbird must never do that again. Songbird must have a clean beak to chirp with. No false notes. That is so, isn't it? Yes. Sure is. We'll say no more about it.
Are you going to work?
Well, bank business.
Already?
I've got authority from the retiring manager to undertake the necessary changes to the staff. And in the rearrangement of the work. To make use of the Christmas week for that, so as to have everything in order for the new year.
So that's why this poor Krogstad. Well, tell me, what did he do that was so bad?
He forged someone's name. You want to idea what that means?
Isn't it possible that he did it out of necessity?
Yes, or, as in so many cases, by imprudence. I'm not so heartless as to condemn a man altogether because of a single false step of that kind.
No, you wouldn't, would you?
Many a man has been able to retrieve his character, if he has openly confessed his fault and taken his punishment.
Punishment?
But Krogstad did nothing of that sort. Got himself out of it by a cunning trick. That's why he's gone under altogether.
But don't you
Just
think...
think how a guilty man like that has to lie and play the hypocrite with everyone. How he has to wear a mask in the presence of those near and dear to him. Before his own wife and children. Without the children. That is the most terrible part of it all.
How?
It's such an atmosphere of lies, effects, and voices the whole life of a home. Each breath the children take in such a house is full of the germs of evil.
Well, what makes you say that?
My dear, I've often seen it in the course of my life as a lawyer. Almost everyone who has gone to the bad early in life has had a deceitful mother.
Why do you only say mother?
It seems most commonly to be the mother's influence, though naturally a bad father should have the same result. Every lawyer is familiar with the fact. This Krogstad, now, is persistently poisoning his own children with lies and dissimulation. That's why I say he's lost one moral character. That's why sweet little Nora must promise me not to plead his cause. Give me your hand on it. What is this? Give me your hand. There now. At 17, I assure you, it would be quite impossible for me to work. Literally feel physically ill when I'm in the company of such people.
It's so hot in here, and I have such a lot to do.
Yes, and I must try and get through some of these before dinner.
Pray for my children. Poison my home. Don't know.
The little ones are begging so hard to be allowed to come into
No,
Mother.
Anne, please stay with them. I can't be with them right now.
Very well, ma'am.
No. I can't. Not my little children. No.
Actually, I'm 24, so I am.
Where does that child?
Sir, hi, I'm Jill. I live downstairs from Alice. And aren't you Alice Orphan? It's so nice to meet you. I'm making a little party. However you want.
Where do you think?
I think you guys make very interesting. I love watching them. But I like
There you go. Yeah.
It's your favorite? There you go.
You got same character. You're Chloe right now. Go with that right too. What's your pretty good job?
Going it up here? Yeah. How's that?
I had to get it out.
Oh, yeah.
I was actually.
Hi! How you doing? What's up here, my little cubby hole?
Making art, being alone at the same time, isn't it great? I don't mind. I don't mind being it. Yeah.
A depressed loner in the dark making art.
That sounds oddly familiar.
I know, right?
Especially a couple weeks ago.
Oh God, yeah.
In my little corner back there.
Yep. It is a very dark little corner back there.
It was very
Is there any way we can ask the man taking photographs if he can turn the sound off?
This was fun. I went to high school with like, I know her.
I did not know her before.
I've known her for a very, very long time.
Yes.
I haven't seen her a long time.
Oh,
We had lunch together.
Aww.
Yeah, like that.
That's so adorable.
Why is it
Oh, adorable. No baby. Okay, bye.
They do it.
Yeah? That's really clever.
You're both tired. Good job. Oh, you gotta go, Anne-Marie. Bye,
Hi, Laura. How you doing? Oh, you know, this concessioning up. Oh, Sam. I'm lighting it up. Hell yeah.
That was actually.
I can't wait to get home. I swear. Oh my god. If my man don't got it ready. I need the fattest blunt in my life. Man, feel that. Actually, I need to ask. I only have a bowl and like cones. Otto has a bong. I haven't ripped a bong in a minute. Bongs are nice. I would like to just get high as fuck. Yeah, when I was leaving, my man was cleaning it, so. So Sunday is like 10th year anniversary, but we're like celebrating tomorrow night because like it's weekend or whatever. My mom's gonna get the kids tomorrow night, and we're gonna. Oh, I forgot what he called it. A hippies trip or something. It's where you do acid and shrooms at the same time. Because I was making jokes. I always wanted to try it, and he's like, "No, it's literally the greatest."
I would try it once.
I know that's what and at home. You know what I mean?
Alright, I know what you're thinking. Yes, this is probably the first time you've ever seen the director come in to make his second director's speech of the night.
Whoop, whoop.
And the reason being, I would like to reiterate, we are a burgeoning company. We are brand new. This is our third show. Everything that you see here is literally been paid for out of my pocket, or Kate's pocket, or my cast and crew's pocket. All of your donations, first thing, I'm going to reimburse every single one of those people. So please, thank you so much for your donations. If you can't get any more, it would really mean the world to us. If you cannot donate anymore, please make sure to post on Facebook and take a picture with our selfie wall. Otherwise, please enjoy the second act of Cosmos.
At last, I found the box with the fancy dress.
Thank you. Put it on the table.
But it is very much in want of mending.
I should like to tear into 100,000 pieces.
Oh, what an idea. It can easily be put in order. Just a little patience.
Fine. Go get Christine and she'll help me with it.
What? In this weather? She will catch cold and make herself ill.
Well, worse than that could happen. How are the children?
You see, they are so accustomed to having their mother with them.
Do they ask very much?
They're so accustomed to having. They want their mother with them. They just...
I won't be able to be with them as much as I once was again.
Very well. Young children easily get used to anything.
Do you think so? Do you think they would forget their mother if she went away altogether?
Good heavens. Went away altogether?
And there's something I must ask you. Something I've always wondered. How could you have the heart to give your child out to a stranger?
I was obliged to, if I wanted to be little Nora's nurse.
Yes, but How could you be willing to do so?
What? When I was going to get such a good place behind it? A poor girl who's got into trouble would be glad to have it.
But
besides, that wicked man didn't do a single thing for me.
I'm quite sure your daughter's forgotten you, though.
No! No, indeed. She hasn't. She wrote me when she was confirmed and when she was married.
Anne, you were such a good mother to me when I was little.
Dear Nora. Poor girl. I was the only mother she had.
And if my children have no other mother, I'm quite sure that you would. Now, no nonsense. Go to them, please. Now I must. You will see tonight how charming I shall look.
I'm sure there will be no one at the ball more charming than you, Nora. Ma'am.
If only I dared go out. If only no one would come. No one will come. Only I mustn't think about it. Out of my thoughts. Out of my thoughts! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, Christine! Is there anyone else out there? How good of you to come. I heard you were looking for me. Yes. As a matter of fact, there's something you can help me with. You see, we are to go to the Sandburg tomorrow for a fancy dress ball, and Torvald wants me to dance the tarantella that I learned to Capri as a Neapolitan fisher girl.
Oh, I see. You're going to keep up the character.
Yes. Well, Torvald wants me to. So, here's the dress he had made for me there, but it's all so torn, and I haven't any idea.
I don't know. You can easily put a fix to this. It's just some trim come undone here and there. Needle and thread?
Yes, ma'am. That's nice of you.
So, you're going to be all dressed up tomorrow, Nora. Well, I tell you what. I shall come see you in your fine feathers. Oh, I forgot to thank you for a perfectly delightful evening yesterday.
Oh. Yesterday wasn't as delightful as usual. You should have come to town earlier, Christine. Torvald certainly knows how to make a house look dainty and attractive.
As do you, it seems to me. You're not your father's daughter for nothing. Tell me, Dr. Rank always as depressed as she was yesterday?
No, it was very noticeable yesterday. I should tell you that she suffered from hepatitis. Her father was a horrible man who suffered all sorts of excesses, and that's why she's been sickly since childhood.
How could you know anything about such things?
Oh, well. When you have 3 children, you get to know mothers, and they come and visit. They know something of medical matters, and so you get to talk about one thing and another.
Does Dr. Rank come here every day?
Yes, every day regularly. She's just like one of the family.
But tell me, is she perfectly sincere? Doesn't she seem to be the type of person who is overly eager to make herself agreeable?
No, not at all. What makes you say that?
Well, yesterday when you introduced us, I noticed that she said she had often heard my name mentioned in this house, but then later, after that, your husband hadn't the slightest idea who I was. So how could she possibly have known?
That's quite right, Christine. Torvald is so absurdly devoted to me that he becomes jealous when I talk of anyone else from home. So I stopped doing so, but I often talk about those things with Dr. Rank because she likes hearing about them.
Listen to me, Nora dear. You are still very like a child in many things, and I am older than you in many ways and have had a little bit more experience. I think you ought to make an end of it with Dr. Rank.
What ought I make an end of?
Now, 2 things, I think. Yesterday you spoke of some rich admirer who was to leave you money.
An admirer who doesn't exist, unfortunately, but what then?
Is Dr. Rank a woman of means?
Yes, she is.
and has no one to provide for,
No, no one.
and comes here every day.
I just told you that.
How could this well-bred woman be so tactless?
Christine, I don't understand you.
Do not prevaricate, Nora. Do you suppose I don't know who lent you the $50,000?
Dr. Ray, a friend of ours who comes here every day. Do you realize what a painful position that would be?
And it really wasn't she.
No, of course not. And besides, she didn't have money then. She came into her money later.
I think that's very lucky for you, Nora.
No, it would have never come into my head for a moment to ask her, but I do think if I did say...
But of course you wouldn't.
No, of course not. I have no reason to think I would need to. But if I did ask her...
Behind your husband's back.
When you pay off a debt, you get your bond back, don't you?
As a matter of course, yes.
Then I can tear that stupid dirty paper into 1,000 little pieces.
Nora, you are concealing something from me.
What makes you say that?
Something has happened since yesterday. What is it?
Oh, Christy, please. Come into the kitchen. Torvald can't bear to see dressmaking. Let him help you.
Certainly. But I'm not leaving here until we've had it out with one another.
Is that the dressmaker?
No, that was Christine. She is helping me mend my dress. You shall see how smart I look tomorrow.
Wasn't that a happy thought of mine now?
Oh, yes, but wasn't it just as good of me? Do as you say.
Good. Because you do as your husband wishes? Well, you little rogue, I'm sure you did not mean it that way. But I'm not going to disturb you. You don't want to be trying on your dress, I expect.
And I suppose you're going to work?
Yes. Look at that. I've just been into the bank.
Torvald,
Yes?
your little squirrel were to ask you something very prettily.
What then?
You do it.
Would you like to hear what it is first?
Your squirrel would run about and perform all of her tricks if you would do what she asks.
Speak plainly.
Your skylark will sing about in every room, her song rising and falling.
Well, my skylark does that anyhow.
I will play the fairy for you and dance in the moonlight.
Well, you certainly don't mean the request you made to me this morning.
Yes, Torvald, please, but...
You need the courage to open up that question again.
Yes, Torvald, you must listen to me, please.
Dear Nora. It's supposed that I've arranged Mrs. Lynn shall have.
Yes, and that was awfully kind of you, but you could just as easily dismiss some other clerk besides Krogstad.
His moral failings I might perhaps have overlooked, if necessary.
You could, couldn't you?
And I hear he's a good worker, too. But I knew him when we were boys. It was one of those rash friendships that so often prove an incubus in afterlife. I may as well tell you plainly. We were once on very intimate terms with one another, but this tactless fellow lays no restraint on himself when other people are present. On the contrary, he thinks it gives him the right to adopt a familiar tone with me, and every minute it's Helmer, my dear old friend, and that sort of thing. I assure you, it's extremely painful for me. It would make my position in the bank intolerable.
Surely you don't mean that.
Why not?
Well, it's such a narrow-minded way of thinking.
What are you saying? Do you think I'm narrow-minded?
No, it's just that. That's what I was saying.
It's the same thing. You say my point of view is narrow-minded, so I must be so too. Very well. Let's put an end to this. Hands up! This letter, go downstairs. downstairs with it at once. Write a messenger, deliver it, and be quick. The address is on it, money's in there too.
Very well, sir.
Now then, Miss Obstinate.
Torvald? What was that letter?
Krogstad's dismissal.
Call her back! Call her back, Torvald, right now, please! There's still time, call her back! For my sake, for your sake, for the children's sake, you have to...
It's too late.
It's too late.
I can forgive the anxiety you're in. Really, it is an insult to me. It is, indeed. Is it an insult to think that I should be afraid of a starving co-driver's vengeance? Forgive you, nevertheless. It is such eloquent witness to your great love for me. That's as it should be, my own darling Nora. Come what will, you may be sure I have both courage and strength if they be needed.
What do you
You'll
mean?
see I'm man enough to take everything upon myself.
What are you talking about?
Everything, I say.
You won't have to do that, Torvald.
That's right. Well, we'll share it, as man and wife should. That is how it shall be. You content now? Those frightened dove's eyes? The whole thing is only the wildest fancy. Now, let's go and leave it to Tarantella and practice with your tambourine. I shall go into the inner office and shut the door, and I shall hear nothing. Make as much noise as you please. And when Red comes, tell her she will find me.
He will do it! He is capable of doing it! He will do it in spite of everything! I'm not anything but that. Oh, don't, Dr. Rink, anything but that! I'm so sorry. Good day, Dr. Rink. You mustn't go into Torvald now, he's busy.
And you?
Oh, you know I always have time for you.
Thank you. I shall make use of as much of it as I can.
As much of it as you can, what do you mean?
Does that alarm you?
Funny way of putting it, what have you found out?
Nothing but what I've long been prepared for. However, I never expected it to happen so soon.
So, about you then.
Who else? It's no use lying to myself, Nora. I am the most wretched of all of my patients. Lately, I have been taking stock of my internal economy. Bankrupt! Probably by the end of the month, I shall lie rotting in the churchyard.
Oh, don't say such ugly things!
Well, the thing itself is cursedly ugly. And the worst of it is that I will have to face so many other ugly things before then. I shall only make one more examination of myself. And I will know pretty certainly when it is that my end will begin. But there's something I have to tell you first. Torvald's refined nature gives him an insurmountable disgust at all things ugly, and I won't have him in my hospital room.
Yeah.
No, not on any account. I bar my door to him. When I am certain that the worst has come, I will send you my card with a black cross through the name, and then you will know that my loathsome end has begun.
You are being absurd. I hoped you would be in such a good mood today.
With death stalking beside me, to have to pay the penalty for another man's sin.
Please, talk something cheerful.
It's a mere laughing matter, the whole thing. To think that my poor, innocent body has to suffer for my father's youthful amusements.
I suppose you mean that he was too partial to strawberries.
Yes, and to truffles.
Oh, yes, truffles and Oysters, too.
Oysters, of course. That goes without saying.
And heaps of champagne. Oh. Terrible thing that these wonderful things should take such revenge on our bones.
Especially that they should take revenge on the unlucky bones of those who have never had the pleasure of enjoying them.
Yes. That's the saddest part of all. Why are you laughing?
No, it was you that smiled.
You laughed.
Oh,
yeah.
You are a greater rascal than I thought.
Oh, I am in a silly mood today.
So it seems.
Now, if you're good, tonight, as the dance is started, you can see how beautifully I will dance. And you can imagine that I'm doing it all for you. And Torvald, of course. But, come here. I want to show you something.
What is it?
Oh, sit. Ah. Look at these.
Silk stockings.
Yes. Blush colored. Oh. It's dark in here now, but tomorrow... Oh, no! You must only look at the feet. But... perhaps you could look a little bit at the legs, too. What? Why are you looking at me so critical? Do you not think then?
I have no means of forming an opinion about that.
Oh, for shame, Dr. Ring. That is to punish you.
And what other nice things am I allowed to see?
Oh, not a thing more. For being so naughty.
Careful. When I am sitting here talking to you as intimately as this, I can never imagine for a moment what my life would have been like if I had never stepped foot into this house.
You feel very at home with us.
And to be obliged to leave it all and not be able to leave behind a single token. One's gratitude, scarcely even a fleeting regret, nothing but an empty space which the next comer can fill as well as any other.
And if I asked you now for... No.
For what?
For a big proof of friendship.
Yes, Nora, yes.
But it would be tremendously big. It would need help and favor and advice.
The bigger a thing it is, the better. I can't conceive what it is. Do tell me. Haven't I your trust?
More than anyone else. I know you are my truest and greatest friend, so I'll tell you. It's something you must help me to prevent. You know how devotedly, how absurdly Torvald loves me, that he would do anything to risk his life to save mine.
Nora, do you think that he is the only one?
The only one.
The only one who would gladly give his life for your sake.
So, that's it.
I was determined that you should know it before I went away, and there will never be a better opportunity than this. And now you know, and now you know too, that you can trust me as you would trust no one else.
Let me pass.
Nora,
Helene, bring in the lamp! Oh, Dr. Rank, how could you be so clumsy?
to have loved you as much as anyone else loves you? Was that clumsy of me?
No! But to go and tell me so, there was no need.
What do you mean? Did you know? Mrs. Helmer, tell me, did you know this?
How would I know whether I had or whether I hadn't? Oh, God, that was so horrid of you.
Well, at any event, now you know that you command me, body and soul. So won't you tell me what it is?
You can do nothing for me now.
I beg you to let me know what it is.
I can't.
You mustn't punish me in this way. Give me permission to do for you whatever it is that a good friend would do.
Do nothing for me now, and besides, it wasn't really anything anyway. It was merely fancy on my part. Dr. Rank, don't you feel ashamed now that the lamp has been brought in?
Not one bit. But perhaps I had better go.
Forever? No! No. You must come here every night as you have before. You know Torvald can't get along without you.
Yes. But you?
You know I am always pleased to see you.
It is that which put me on the wrong track. You are a riddle to me. I almost thought that you would prefer my company to your own husband's.
But don't you see? There are some one loves best, and others one would almost always rather have as a companion.
Yes, there is something in that.
See, when I was at home, I, of course, loved Bob best, but I would always steal down to the maid's quarters because they never moralized at all. They always talked about such entertaining things.
I see. So it is their place that I.
Oh, dear nice Dr. Rank, that is not what I meant at all. Surely you can.
Is there something wrong?
No. It's just something. It's my new dress.
What? But isn't your dress in there?
Yes, this is another one. I just ordered it. Torvald mustn't know.
So then that was the big secret.
Yes. Please go to him. Keep it as long as you possibly can.
Make your mind easy. Won't let him escape.
He's standing out there.
Yes, he came up the back stairs.
And you told him no one was home?
Yes, but it was no good.
And he won't leave?
No, he says he won't until he has seen him.
Bring him in quietly. No one must know anything about this, okay?
No, I don't understand.
Speak low, my husband's home.
Don't worry about that.
What do you want?
An explanation of something.
Make haste then, what is it?
I suppose you know that I've received my dismissal.
Yes, Mr. Croft said I fought hard and long to plead your cause, but it was no use.
Does your husband love you so little, then?
How,
He knows what I can expose you to.
how can you suppose he has any knowledge of the sort?
I suppose so at all. It would not be the least like our dear Torvald Helmer. You show so much courage.
A little respect for my husband, please.
Certainly. The respect he deserves. But since you've kept this matter so carefully yourself, I assume that you have a better idea than you did yesterday of what it is you've done.
More than you could ever teach me.
Yes, because I'm such a poor boy.
What do you want, Mr. Krogstad?
You see how you were. I've been thinking about you all day, Mrs. Helmer. Even a cashier, a quill driver, Well, a person like me has feelings, you know.
Use them then. Think of my children.
Have you and your husband thought of mine? Well, never mind about that. I only came to tell you that you don't need to worry too much. In the first place, there will be no accusation made on my part.
No, I was sure of that.
Do not worry. No amount of money will make me part of your bond.
What do you plan to do with it then?
Will you keep it? Preserve it. It'll be made in secret between the three of us. So, the thought of it has driven you to any desperate resolutions.
It had?
It had your mind to run away from home.
I have?
Even something worse.
How did you know about that?
Give up the idea.
How did you know about that?
Most of us think of it first. I did too. I hadn't the courage.
Nor had I.
No, that's it. You hadn't the courage either.
Haven't.
Besides, there'd be no point in it all. Once the first storm of home is over, leave a letter in my pocket for your husband.
Tell him everything.
As lenient a manner as I possibly could.
My husband must not get that letter. Tear it up. I will get you your money.
Excuse me, Mrs. Helmer, but I think I told you just now. I'm not asking your husband for a penny.
I am not talking about what I owe you. Tell me what you're asking for, and then I will get it to you.
I'll tell you, Mrs. Helmer. I want to get on. I want to rehabilitate myself. In that, your husband must help me. For the last year and a half, I've not had a hand in a single dishonorable thing. All the while, I've been struggling in the most restricted of circumstances. I was content to work my way back up, step by step. But now I'm turned out. And I won't be satisfied with merely being taken back into favor again. I want to get on, I tell you. I want to get back into the bank, in a higher position. Your husband must find a place for me.
That will never happen.
But it will. I know him. He dare not protest. And then you will see. Within a year, I'll be the bank manager's right hand. And then it'll be Nils Krogstad and not Torvald Helmer who manages the bank.
You will never see that.
You mean that you'll go through with it then?
I have the courage now.
Don't scare me. Kind, spoiled lady like yourself.
You'll see. You will see.
Under the ice, perhaps. Down to the cold, cold weather.
You can't frighten me.
Nor do you mean, Mrs. Helmer. People don't do things like that. Besides, there's no point in it. I should have your husband in my power all the same. Have you forgotten that I have the holding of your reputation? Well, I've warned you. Don't do anything stupid. When Helmer gets my letter, I expect a response. I want you to remember that it was your husband himself who made me act this way. I'll never forgive him. Bye, Mrs. Helmer.
Letter. Letter's in the box. There's no hope for it now.
I can't see anything more
See?
yet. We're trying on.
Here, look, the letter in the box.
Yes, I see it.
Letter from Krogstad.
It was Krogstad who lent you the money.
I forged a name. Here. I only want to say this to you three. You must be my witnesses.
Witnesses? But what are we to... What?
I am to lose my mind, and it very well might happen.
Nora.
And if something to prevent me from being here...
No, Nora, you are quite out of your mind.
And if somebody wanted to take all the responsibility, all the blame, you understand?
Yes, but how could you suppose that...
You must be my witnesses. That is not true. I am in my right mind. I am thinking clearly. Nobody has helped me with this. This is something I have done alone. Remember that.
Well, I don't understand all of this.
How could you? A wonderful thing is going to happen.
A wonderful thing?
Yes. A wonderful thing, but a terrible thing that you must help me to prevent.
I will go see Krogstad at once.
Oh, there's
Where do you live?
I don't know. How should... Picard! Oh. Who is it? What is it? What do you want?
Don't be so frightened about coming in. Are you trying on your dress?
Yes, that's it. I look quite nice, Torvald.
There was a time he would gladly have done anything for me. I would go, I see this is the corner here.
Oh, but it's no use. It is generally at this time.
But your husband has the key.
Yes, always.
Krogstad must ask for his letter back unread. He must find some pretense.
There's no way he won't.
No, you must go to him. Delay him. I'll be back as soon as I can.
I know.
Sorry, Laura, I didn't realize it was that low, like low. Yeah, that was my fault.
Well,
You're not I would guess.
oh.
What?
I had a thought when I lost it.
Me too, every day.
Oh, hell. Oh, shit, only slightly terrifying.
Blue shirt too. Cheyenne. Good.
Oh!
You know what an unstarted is?
Yep.
Sometimes.
Right on the neck. I was like, man, that's such a big level.
A mother's
Oh, I'm Danny Hill.
Yeah, the comment that was like, taking that. Not that sure. Well, that's not.
Thank you. I will say this. I'm sure you're all like, why is he up here again? I am going to ask you for more money if you can. Truly, the fact that you're here is really makes me so happy. I am really happy that you're here. I'll be standing out with the donation box at the very end of it. And please take pictures and post them. Again, thank you so much. I hope you were all ready for the last act of it all.
Got your message. What does this mean?
It's absolutely necessary that I should speak to you.
It's absolutely necessary that you should be here.
Well, it's impossible where I live. There's no private entrance to my room. Come on, we're quite alone. The maids are asleep and the Helmers are at a dance upstairs.
Helmers are at a dance tonight.
Yes, why not?
Certainly. Certainly. Why not?
Now, Nils. Let's talk.
We have to talk about it.
We have a great deal to talk about.
I didn't think so.
No, you never properly understood.
What more is there to understand than what is obvious to everyone? A heartless woman jilts a man when a more lucrative chance shows up.
Do you really think I did it with a light heart?
Didn't you?
No. Did you really think that?
If it were as you say, why did you write to me like you did?
I had no choice. As I had to break with you, it was also my duty to put an end to all that you felt for me.
So that was it then. All of this just for the sake of money.
You must not forget that I had a helpless mother and 2 younger brothers to look after. We couldn't wait for you, Nils. Your prospects seemed hopeless at the time.
That may be so, but you had no right to turn me out for anyone else's sake.
I don't know. I've often asked myself if I had a right to do it.
Left me was as if all solid ground had fallen out from beneath my feet. Look at me now. I'm a shipwrecked man clinging to a bit of wreckage.
But help may be near.
It was near, but then you came and stood in the way.
Unintentionally, Nils. It was only today that I learned it was your position I was to be taking in the bank.
I believe you if you say so, but once you figured it out, why did you not give it back to me?
No. That wouldn't have benefited you in the least.
Benefit? I would have done it either way.
I have learned to act prudently. Life and hard, bitter necessity have taught me that.
Life has taught me not to believe in fine speeches.
Well, then life has taught you something very reasonable. But deeds. Deeds, you must believe it.
What do you mean?
You said you were like a shipwrecked man clinging to a bit of wreckage.
I have good reason to say so.
Well, I am like a shipwrecked woman clinging to a bit of wreckage. No one to mourn for, no one to care for.
It's all your fault.
It was my only choice. Then.
And now?
No. How would it be if we 2 shipwrecked people could join forces?
Say.
2 on the same bit of wreckage would stand a better chance than each on their own.
Steve.
What do you suppose brought me to town?
You think that it was me.
I couldn't endure a life without work. All my life it has been my greatest and only joy. But now my life is so dreadfully empty. There's no pleasure in working for oneself. No. Give me someone and something to work for.
No, I don't trust this. It's just a woman's overstrained sense of pity.
Have you ever known anything of the sort in me?
Steve, could you really do it?
Yes.
Do you know about my past? Do you know what they think of me here?
You seem to have implied that with me you might have been quite another man.
Certain of it.
Is it too late now?
Steve.
I want to be a mother to somebody. And your children need a mother. We too need each other. I have faith in your true character. I can dare anything together with you. Tarantella! Go, you must go!
What is it?
You hear them up there. When that is over, we may expect them back down here.
Yes, I will go, but it's no use. You have no idea what I've done to the Helmers.
Oh, yes, I know all about that.
Despite that, you have the courage.
I understand why you did it.
I can take it all back.
But you can't. Your letter's lying in the box now.
Are you sure of that?
Yes, quite sure.
Is that what all this is? You're doing all this just for your friend.
A woman who has sold herself once for another doesn't do it a second time.
No, but yes, there is something I can do. I'll do it right away.
No, you mustn't ask for your letter back.
But isn't that why you asked me here in the first place?
In my first moment of fright, it was, but 24 hours have passed since then, and Helmer must know all about it. They must have no secrets between them. There should be no concealment.
Well, trust you. I'll go. Wait for you outside?
Yes. you must walk me to my door.
Never had such a piece of good fortune in my entire life.
No, Torvald, please take me back up. I don't want to come down so early.
I'm serious, Nora.
Torvald, please, only an hour more.
Not a single minute, my sweet Nora. You know that was our agreement. Pull on to the room. You're catching a cold standing there.
Good evening.
Christine.
You're so late, Mrs. Lind.
Yes, you must excuse me. I was so eager to see Nora in her dress.
Yes. Take a good look at her. I think she's worth looking at. Isn't she charming, Mrs. Lind?
She is.
Doesn't she look remarkably pretty? Everyone thought so at the dance. She is terribly self-willed, this sweet little person. What are we to do with her? You'll hardly believe that I'd almost to bring her away by force.
Torvald, you will regret not having let me stay even half an hour more.
Listen to her, Mrs. Lind. She had danced her tarantella, and it had been a tremendous success, as it deserved. Although possibly the performance was practically realistic. A little more so, I mean. We're strictly compatible with the limitations of art, but never mind about that. Do you think I was going to let her remain there after that and spoil the effect? No, indeed! I took my charming little Capri maiden, my capricious little Capri maiden, I should say, on my arm, took one quick turn around the room, curtsy on either side, and, as they say in novels, the beautiful apparition disappeared. It acted not always to be effective, Mrs. Lind. That is what I cannot make Nora understand. Excuse me.
Well, I'm going to talk with him.
Yes, and? Or you must tell your husband all about it.
Anyway.
No, you have nothing to be concerned or afraid of as far as Crosside is concerned, but you must tell him.
I won't tell him.
And the letter will.
Thank you, Christine. Now I know what I must do.
Well, Mrs. Lind, you admired her?
Yes, and now I will say goodnight.
What? Already? Is this yours?
Oh.
This knitting?
Yes, thank you. I had almost forgotten.
So you knit?
Yes.
Do you know? You ought to embroider.
Really?
Yes, it's far more becoming. Let me show you. You hold the embroidery thus in your left hand and use the needle with the right. Like this. Long, easy sweep, you see? But in the case of knitting, that could never be anything but ungraceful. Look here. The arms close together, knitting needles going up, down, up, and down. Oh. The excellent champagne makings.
Good night, Nora. Don't be so self-willed anymore.
That's right, Mrs. Lind.
Good night, Mr. Helmer.
Good night. Good night. I hope you get home all right. I should be very happy to, but you haven't any great distance to go. Good night. Good night. Last we got rid of her. I'm so grateful for that woman.
Are you tired, Torvald?
No, not the least.
Not sleepy.
Not a bit. On the contrary, it's extraordinarily lively. And you? Really look both tired and sleepy.
Yes, I am. I'm very tired. I want to go to sleep at once.
There. You see, it was quite right of me not to let you stay there any longer.
Everything you do is quite right, Torvald.
Oh, my little Skylark is speaking with you. Did you notice what good spirits Rank was in this evening?
Really? Was she? I didn't even speak to her.
And I very little. But I've not for a long time seen it in such good form. Life will treat ourselves again. All alone with you. Fascinating, charming little darling.
Don't look at me like that.
Why should I look at my dearest treasure? And all the beauty that's mine, my very own.
You mustn't speak like that to me tonight, Torvald, please.
You still got the tarantella in your blood, I see. It makes you more captivating than ever. Listen. Yes, they're beginning to go now. Soon the whole house will be quiet. You know, Nora, when I'm out in a party with you like this, why I speak so little to you, keep away from you, only send a stolen glance your direction now and then. You know why I do that? Because I make believe to myself that we are secretly in love. And you are secretly promised bride.
Yes, I know quite well. You're always with me, Torvald.
And when we're leaving, putting the shawl over your beautiful young shoulders, and your neck, I imagine that you're my young bride, and that we've just come home from the wedding, bringing you for the first time into our home. Alone with you for the first time. Quite alone, it's not shy. Oh, this evening I have longed for nothing but you. When I first watched the seductive figures of the tarantella, my blood was on fire. I can endure it no longer. That's why I brought you down so.
Oh, wait, let go of me, please. I won't.
What's that? You're joking, my little Nora. You won't? You won't? Am I not your husband?
Nora! Torvald.
Who is it?
It is I. May I come in?
Oh, what a short now. Wait a minute. Oh. Come. That's kind of you not to pass by our door.
I thought I heard your voice and felt as if I should like to take a look in these dear familiar rooms. You two look very happy and cozy in here.
It seems to me that you looked after yourself pretty well upstairs, too.
Excellently. And why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't one enjoy a merry evening? At any rate, as much as one can, and as often as one can. The wine is capital.
Especially the champagne.
So you noticed that too?
Yes.
It is amazing how much I was able to put away.
Torvald was able to put away quite a bit too. Yes, and he's always in such good spirits afterwards.
Well, why shouldn't one enjoy a merry evening after a well-spent day?
Oh, spent? I'm afraid I can't take credit for that.
But I can, you know.
Dr. Rank, have you been involved in some sort of scientific investigation today?
Exactly.
And may I congratulate you on the result? So it was favorable then?
The best possible outcome for both doctor and patient.
Look at that.
Certainty.
Little Nora talking about scientific investigations.
Certainty?
Absolute certainty. So wasn't I entitled to make a merry evening of it after that?
You certainly were, Dr. Rank.
I think so, too. So long as you don't have to pay for it in the morning.
Well, can't have anything in this life without paying for it.
Dr. Rank, are you fond of fancy dress balls?
Yes. There is a fine lot of pretty costumes.
And what shall we two wear to the next?
Little feather brain. Are you thinking of the next already?
BT. Yes. I can tell you. You shall go dressed as a good thing.
Yes, but what do you suggest as an appropriate costume for that?
Let your wife go dressed just as she is.
Oh, that was really very prettily turned. But can't you tell us what you'll be?
Yes, my dear friend, I can quite tell you that. At the next fancy dress ball, I shall be.
That's a good joke.
There's a big black hat. You never heard of black hats that make you invisible.
You put one on, and then suddenly, no one can see you anymore.
Yes, you're quite right.
Yes. But I have clean forgotten what I came here for. Thank you. And now goodbye.
Sleep well, dear.
Thank you for that wish.
Wish me the same as well.
Yes, well, you'll have to sleep well. Take care of yourself.
Oh, she's drunk more than she ought.
Maybe. Well, what are you doing?
In the letterbox. It's quite full. Soon there'll be no room to put the newspaper in tomorrow morning. What's this? Someone's been in the lock. Yes, someone has. What do you mean? Never thought of me. Broken hairpin. Nora, is this one of yours?
It must have been the children.
You must get them out of those ways. Card. Ranks.
Dr. Ranks?
It was on the top. Must have put them in when she went out.
Is there anything written on them?